folks.
Let's see that. Okay, Brian, let's see if we are over there now. So hopefully we had to pay money. That's what it was.
Folks, welcome back to the At the Net podcast. We are so proud to have Craig Bell back after about a 2-month summer hiatus.
Let's see.
And he is producing right now along with Dave the Brain from Maryland.
COVID Dave. It's COVID Dave. Okay, just a second.
We've got a fantastic guest tonight. His name is Patrick Fontana. Most of you may even know him.
Got it, Brain. Brain, we're good. Thank you, sir.
All right.
You are the best right there. Go to bed right now. See you. All right. There we go. It just took money. So let's, yes, we are right there.
There we are. We're live.
We see Patrick looking down. He was not paying attention. So
yeah, he's been having a man. He's had a 2-minute, 10-minute hiatus also.
So let's start again.
Let's roll.
Okay, here we go. James Scott Campbell, let's get it going.
Hello, you are At the Net. And welcome, friends, to another episode of the At the Net podcast, powered by Tex-Mex Productions. Working the soundboards in the back of the house are our producers, D-Mac and Dave the Brain. Time to say hello to your hosts, Craig Bell and AJ Shabria, as they're about to take us through 3 sets of tennis, talking life and all the news as it seems to them. Ladies and gentlemen, Craig Bell.
All right. We are back again. Hey, Jay. Boy, we it's like we got the chance to restart again.
I love it. Restart. And Craig Bell, welcome back after a 2-month hiatus.
Well, this is part 2, redo. It's just like a sequel.
Love it.
So you're listening to At the Net podcast. So we're official now. So Patrick, you're official. We're going right now. We are actually live. I see us on Facebook. So thanks to our At the Net podcast girl. That would be Margot Carter for the word of the night, convivial. Convivial. Do you know convivial?
I love convivial, and that's a good way to describe the intro.
Yes, and welcome fans of the great game. You're listening to Season 1. This is episode 9-2. Niner. They say that in aeronautics, Niner 2 of At the Net podcast with the great AJ Chabria. That's AJC. And I'm who?
Craig Bell, CB1 as we call him. So proud to have you back next to me.
Right, I'm glad to be here. We were talking the great game of tennis as it
seems to us.
Thanks really go out to our good amigos at Tex-Mex Productions. That would be Darian D. Mac McBrayer and Dave the Brain, COVID Dave from Maryland. So, we didn't get any type of germs or anything like that from him. But
you never know. These retina displays are really good, so we got to watch out.
Okay, but he did a great job getting us back up. Actually, we owed a little money, so I had to put a credit card in and make a payment. It's amazing how
keep the lights on, keep the stream flowing.
Well, anyway, but he made us move the dials and buttons, and we're real people tonight. We're not holograms or anything like that, are we?
Not at all. Also,
be sure to like and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Plus, check out our good work. I get to say this again. Fireside, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Breaker, CastBox, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Spotify. That's all the important communication sites. If you're not on those sites, then you don't need to watch or listen. Also, if you'd like to be like Margot Carter and read the convivial introduction, let us know. We like to have multiple female voices, right?
Definitely. Send us a demo tape. We'll probably love it.
And so, speaking of convivial, we're going to reintroduce again Patrick Fontana to the podcast. We are a convivial podcast tonight, so please use that in your when we start talking. Try to work in the word convivial, Patrick, if you wouldn't mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, Patrick Fontana, extraordinary tennis professional from years back, extraordinary financial planner in the past couple decades. So we're so proud to have him on the show. Craig Bell.
Yes.
Should we get him rolling?
Yes, we should, because he is an unbelievable guest. We've known Patrick a long time. Patrick's done he has a dearth of information for everybody, not just dearth is a good word, too.
How about a wealth of information, too?
A wealth and dearth of information.
He's got both.
He's got texture, too, doesn't he?
He does.
That's another word.
Patrick, welcome to the show. Good evening. How are you doing tonight?
I'm convivial.
There you go. You're listening.
He let off.
This man is smart. That's why you want to do, if you want any wealth or financial management.
You want to do business with this cat.
That cat right there is the man.
I get a wealth of vocabulary.
Well, thank you, Patrick. We appreciate you letting us reset the game. This is At the Net podcast, and Patrick is has been gracious enough to join us this evening after a little bit of a delay, not necessarily just for a couple of months, but a couple of minutes there we had to get going again. But thank you. And, Patrick is, like I said, a buddy of ours, been around the Dallas area a long time, noted tennis professional, got into the wealth management business a few years ago. So we're going to learn a lot about how to manage finances. Do you have any finances? I don't have any finances.
We always need more.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, maybe Patrick can be very convivial tonight and tell us how to make money, right?
We'd love it. Let's get us started with our first set. Patrick, tell us about your background in the great game of tennis. How'd you get started in this?
So I was a military brat, and we moved a lot. So my high school started in D.C. area, and I thought I'd be a track guy, and I played soccer and ran track and was big into pole vault. That was going to be my sport until we got transferred to Korea. So my dad got a battalion command in Seoul, Korea. And sophomore year, I moved to Seoul, Korea. So first friend I made was a guy named Sean Sims, lived right across the street in Embassy Housing, and he was on the tennis team. And it was summertime, so what you did there was you went to the pool and you played tennis. And I ended up getting coaxed into trying out for the tennis team. I wasn't really too much of a tennis player, but this 6'7" high school coach, Bill Howell, who's now retired in Oregon, he played tennis out there, and he was a Department of Defense teacher with his wife, and he was the coach. And so it was a big blessing in my life because I found out there's nothing but tennis at my high school and cross country. There was no football or some of the normal things. And so I tried out, and it was interesting because he did tryouts with 30 people, and he hit balls with each one of them for a couple minutes. And then the next day he posted the list, and I was like number 7 out of 7, and later he told me it was just pure, potential. Like if I could figure it out, I'd be good. And so he roped me into playing a ton of tennis, and we were in Seoul, Korea, and that led to being addicted.
Patrick, you've clearly, picked it up well. I'm surprised there wasn't soccer in Korea in the, I'm guessing this was the 80s, around when the Olympics were in Seoul?
Actually, yeah. So we were there for the 88 Olympics, and there was soccer, and it was in the spring. And so what happened my sophomore year was I started at number 7, and over the course of the season, I moved up and made it to the what is called Far East there. So all the Department of Defense schools from the Philippines and Korea and Okinawa, they all come together for a big tournament, and the top 4 in each country get to go. And so I got to number 4 and went to Far East, and I was a sophomore, and the other guys were seniors, and we ended up getting into some trouble. And the tournament in Kadena Air Force Base, before it started, we got in trouble and we got sent home. And so not only was I I was on the basketball team already. I was planning to play soccer in the spring, but the high school principal made an example of this experience, and he essentially suspended the guys, and we weren't allowed to do school activities for the rest of the year. So there was no prom, there was no soccer, and I was just kind of out in the wind. And so this Coach Howell, was teaching on the side at a Korean national team, and it was a place called Chamshil. It's a big clay court place, and he talked to my parents and ended up kind of rescuing me from having nowhere to go. And I ended up riding the subway with Coach Howell most every single day, and there's all these Korean guys and me, and there's one Australian redhead who went to Seoul International School, James. I don't remember where he ended up going to school, but it was pretty much all tennis from there on out, and we ended up getting a lot better.
Sounds it. And you mentioned a clay court. I hate jumping around, but we got to jump around to this past weekend. You've just played a ton of tennis on a clay court right here in Dallas. Tell us a little bit about this fantastic event you've been involved with the great Phil McGraw.
Yeah, so I guess I'll jump around to cover. When I first moved to Dallas, I was at the Four Seasons in Las Colinas. I was tennis pro there, ended up being the head tennis pro, and way back then, Phil McGraw was a member. He played tennis every day and lived on number 17. And he's a friend of mine from back then, and I played doubles with them. And when he became Dr. Phil and moved out to Beverly Hills and ended up, he plays on clay courts. And whenever I was in town, I've got some clients in Los Angeles. I would always call and say, "Hey, I'm here." And his right hand Barbara would say, "Hey, show up at Bel Air Country Club 4:00," and I started playing some doubles. And then he got an awesome house and put in a beautiful clay court, and no more Bel Air Country Club than it was at his house. And so I've played at that house a lot. My kids got into acting. We ended up getting a place out there, and so I've played a lot there. And I got this email not too long ago, basically saying, he's built a clay court here in Dallas, and he's moved back to Texas. He's got both places, but he's got tennis friends in both. And he sent this eloquent email talking about how he's blessed to have two wonderful clay courts in two great cities, and he's had tennis buddies for 20 years in both cities, and conflict was inevitable. So round one was to bring the LA guys to Dallas and have a 4-day tournament, and it just finished today. So that was started Thursday night, and we played a ton of tennis, and it was awesome. And I ended up being on the LA team, which some guys were calling me a traitor, but it was just made things even. Yeah. And it was really close. It ended up being like 160 something to, it was like 5 games difference. And so the LA won.
Close.
LA won round one. And round two will come later, where Dallas flies out there.
So they call this the McGraw Cup, kind of like the Laver Cup?
Well, that's up for discussion. It's actually,
hey, if it's Phil's tournament, I mean, it should be called the McGraw Cup.
I thought McGraw Championships. I actually have a trophy made up, but it's now officially going to be the Frank Biondi Memorial.
Oh, there we go.
And Frank Biondi is a awesome tennis player who passed away last year, lefty, and he's one of Phil's first friends. Like the first week he got out there, he played doubles with this group, and it was at Frank Biondi's house. And he basically got invited over there, and that became his group. And I played with the guy. He was lefty, smooth, just awesome guy. And if anybody Googles him and looks up all the stuff this guy did, it's unbelievable. I mean, he ran every major network and was the CEO of all kinds of stuff, and just very successful, smart guy. And in his honor, because a lot of this kind of started with this event, I guess that's going to be the name going forward. And Phil's going to have a plaque, showing the champion each year, and see what happens with Dallas and LA. And the competition was fierce, so it was a lot of fun.
That's tremendous. I'm really surprised the LA guys came here and played really well in the heat, because Los Angeles, you're used to some pretty sweet weather 12 months a year. And over here, it was, 98 degrees today?
Yeah. Well, the good news was it's 30 minutes at a pop, so you go hard for 30 minutes and you jump in the pool, which is, located right next to the court. It's just a perfect layout for watching tennis and playing tennis, and it's just a beautiful setup. And every guy there, there was, 20, a little over 20 guys, maybe 10 or 12 from each city. And every guy there, without exception, and a lot of good tennis players were this is the best tennis event they've ever played in. And it was, so great. He had food was amazing. I mean, it was like a 4-day guys trip where you're all together, you're playing a ton of tennis, you're being wined and dined, and just blessed to be there. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, sounds like it.
What a fantastic event. Well done, Patrick, for not just for winning, but for being a big part of it and playing, and being a buddy of his for a couple decades. That's really cool you guys put that together today.
Yeah, well, the winning part was purely partners. I played 2 rounds with a guy named Richard Sperling. He runs a charity called Acing Autism.
Yes.
The smooth player, and we played with him twice. And another guy named Chris Chatham, who played for UVA and is an attorney out in LA, and also a great player. We played a couple matches. So those were my winning ones. Came across a couple of steamrollers that were painful. Zoltan, one of my Baylor boys, he was on the Dallas team, and I didn't enjoy a couple of those interactions, but LA came out on top barely.
So who Dr. Phil play for?
He played for Dallas.
I had to ask that question. I just thought about that. I was like, okay, now he could go both. You can't split him up, So he's got to choose one or the other. So he played for the Dallas team, unfortunately, huh? That's what you're saying.
I think he will probably play for the Dallas team every time.
Okay.
He's clearly a Texas resident.
Right. Yeah. First and foremost, he was from Texas before he moved out to California.
Yeah, and back here also. So
Right.
It's nice to have him back in Dallas.
He does have that country accent, doesn't he?
He does. He's got it. Thanks for setting us up on that one. Can you imitate him, Patrick?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Actually, I have a lot of great quotes that I would attest to him that just, heard over the years, I need to use, but no imitations.
He is always full of good practical advice that makes you think, and he delivers it in a very matter-of-fact Southern accent. I love his accent and his voice. And Dr. Phil, big thanks for lending us Patrick for the evening. Thank you.
He's very convivial too.
He definitely is. Yeah. Hey, let's move from high school in the late '80s in Korea to college tennis and being a graduate student and an assistant coach at a national champion college here in America. Tell us about those two schools and your experience.
Sure. So when we moved back from Korea, we went to Leavenworth, Kansas, and I was a senior in high school, and we even moved mid-year. And to this day, I still don't know how the high school coach in Leavenworth, Kansas knew about it. I have a suspicion maybe he knew a realtor or something, but he wrote me a letter before we moved. And he is Mr. Tennis in Leavenworth, Kansas. He started the tennis team. He's played college tennis. He actually has a court now named after him, Jim Mathis. He's a legend in Leavenworth, Kansas. He was a typing teacher. And when I showed up in Leavenworth as a senior, knowing nobody, the very first day I went to his room, and a couple guys from the tennis team, took me under their wing, and we ended up going out and playing tennis. And that year, the 1 year that I was there, and he's been the coach, 40 years, but I think I'm biased, of course. That year was like the best team he ever had. We had, a couple guys, military-wise, like me, come in, and a couple local guys that were really good. And one freshman who ended up being in the Hall of Fame, Washburn University, and number one in the nation, college player. He was on that team. He was like our number 6. We had a stacked high school team, but I ended up getting recruited by a guy named Ramiro Escui.
Uh-huh.
I like to say he could sell ice to Eskimos. He had me up to Kirksville, Missouri, Northeast Missouri State, and gave me a scholarship. And I took a few visits and picked the smallest school with Ramiro, and I showed up there, and he built a really good team. So my freshman year, sophomore year was Ramiro, and he then left, and he's still at Indiana University in Bloomington. He's the head women's coach to this day, and great guy. He's still been a help to me throughout life. And the new coach that came in, I wasn't as tight with, but he walked into a pretty good team. So my junior and senior year of college, we still were strong. And my doubles partner was a Hungarian guy named Balázs Sonkadou. And then we played a little pro tennis afterwards with no success. And Ramiro had told me about the deal that he had at Baylor University. And he'd gotten a master's degree there, and he had coached. And he actually had set my freshman year doubles partner, his name's Alan Kramer. He set him up for the same thing. And so between those two guys and hearing about Baylor, and I was figuring out what to do, MBA, law school, something. I took a visit to Baylor. They gave me a full, tuition waiver and a stipend, and my job was to teach tennis and coach tennis. And so I went to Baylor in 1995 and was there for 2 years, and I got a master's degree and was thinking college tennis coach, and I had a great time, but I also figured out that's probably not going to be the route for me. But my second year there, Matt Knoll was the new head coach. And another guy named Kevin Kowalik came in as an assistant coach. And we had some great recruits. Johan Just, who's, All-American, Baylor, first great player at Baylor, I guess in the newer last 20-year generation. And
Yeah.
Igor Bisba, Joey Michalski, and some really good players. And so I had a great time there. My last 6 hours of grad school was an internship, and that brought me to Dallas. So actually I had 2 offers for internships. One was with IMG, which is kind of an agent hookup where the offer was to move there for free and work for free and, maybe get a job. Yeah. And the other offer was the PGA, the 1997 Byron Nelson at the Four Seasons. And so Mark Heron was the club manager, and he set me up to get paid and come do this Byron Nelson thing. And it sounded great to me, so I moved to Dallas for the internship. And while the internship was happening, the head tennis pro at Four Seasons was Rob Vandershans. And he ended up taking another job, moving to Kentucky. Uh-huh. And I had actually driven him to the airport for that interview because he didn't want anybody to know what he was leaving for. And the club manager offered me basically that job during my internship. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And I ended up becoming the head tennis pro at the Four Seasons. And I had a great time, starting out there. And first 3 years in Dallas, had a blast and followed Craig Bell's footsteps as a Four Seasons tennis pro.
Wasn't hard to.
Tremendous. No, you're a tough act to follow, and Patrick clearly did it nicely.
Very low bar. The other Craig was harder to follow. That'd be Craig Carden.
Carden, right.
Carden was there on and off during my time. We had a lot of great events.
Patrick, speaking of great events, I saw pictures of you with one of not just my idols, but a lot of people's idols, Ken Rosewall. You've had multiple times playing tennis with Rosewall. Tell us about it.
Well, when I was at Four Seasons, we had a few events that were just, I'll always remember. One was Jeffrey's group, a financial group, had big tennis guys. And they came in and they paid Grand Slam Sports, I think was the name of the group, and it's basically Rosewall and
Stolly.
Gosh, they had several of the old studs, Aussie guys come in and have an event, and we played tennis all day, dinner, and the next day do it again, and so it was like a pro-am type deal where I was generally playing against Rosewall with one of the Jeffries guys, and he'd have one of the Jeffries guys, and we played all day long, and we had, it was a bunch of good old players, and yeah, that's where those pictures came from, and a few of the Four Seasons guys got to, get paid to hang out with those guys. It was awesome.
Tremendous stuff.
Sure, it was a tough day. You have to. I'm sure it was really tough, difficult. Like playing, he plays in the with Phil McGraw and them 20 years, 30 years later, and now he's peel back the onion here a little bit, playing with Ken Rosewall. So,
well, what a rich background in tennis. I want to go to set number 2 here, and in the second set, Patrick, we get to talk about your current projects and your future projects. Tell us about what you've been doing. I know you've had a pretty big year. Transitioning away from a large company in the financial planning world into a mid-sized company or a smaller company. Tell us all about it, Patrick. How do you feel?
I feel great. It's kind of like being out of jail. I was at a big firm. I started at a big firm and moved maybe did 8 years and started at Smith Barney, which no longer exists. Kind of became Morgan Stanley and moved from there 12 years ago or so. And then the whole pandemic thing changed life a little bit. Wasn't allowed to go to the office, wasn't allowed to meet with clients, had a lot of kind of interesting stuff. My wife actually leveraged into moving to this house because we had 3 kids and 3 dogs, and I never had a home office and didn't want one, frankly. But she managed to leverage that situation into having an office. But I'd been looking for a long time at independence and setting up my own firm. And so I've got 5 partners that were in on that, and they led me. They kind of, part 1 came a couple years ago, part 2 came, and then I was part 3. So It's right on the tollway. It's called Wealth Partners Alliance.
WPA, yeah, I've seen the cool logo, yeah.
Yeah, we've got a 5-story white building right across the street from Jesuit. We've got the second floor, and we've recruited a couple more advisors that have joined since me, and they've got more coming. And just good group of guys and great practice. All my clients moved with me, and got a couple great people on my team. Michael's a young CFP that came with me, and Madeline, on my right hand and the left hand, she was on the U.S. ski team, moved up from Austin,
and before that, from the Bay Area. I know Madeline and I had a fun conversation. She's from NorCal, yeah.
Yeah. Her dad's actually an advisor in Lake Tahoe, and so I basically just improved my practice. I have better people around me. I have better capacity, and just in a better place. And it's just not corporate. You got to come by our office. We just got a new kind of second conference table that's a concrete, really cool looking table, but it happens to be the exact size of a ping pong table.
Love it.
Come up, we can stroke a few. And
we will crack a few. And, a recent guest on our show, while we had a hiatus, I had Ryan Brooker, who is at Republic, which is probably your neighborhood tavern down below your building, right?
It's right out my window, and I can be there in about a minute.
I will meet you there one night for sure, and we'll crack some table tennis with this guy, too.
Yeah, we've done a couple of events with Rathburn, like a barbecue in our parking lot, and we're going to do a couple more. So, yeah, you'll time it right. You'll come get some good food.
Oh, for sure.
You've seen the movie Forrest Gump, haven't you?
Of course.
Well, I make him look slow.
You're that good.
You don't want to play me. Sorry.
Run, Craig, run.
What's that?
Run, Craig, run.
Run,
That's right. No, well, speaking of partners, I know you said that it's all about partners. Well, you obviously got Patrick's smart. He plays with good partners, and he gets in the certified financial world as well. So that's why he's a wealth manager. He's a wealth of management experience. Find those better people out there, right, Patrick?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's a guy who doesn't need to be this humble, but he is, and that's probably one of the keys. Patrick, if you were to offer a couple keys to success in business, whether it's the tennis business, it's the financial planning space, or really any kind of business, whether it's an entrepreneur going independent or somebody at a big firm, tell us what your advice might be to somebody looking to succeed with surrounding themselves with great people like you have.
Well, if you always keep your eye out for how can you help somebody. I believe in karma. I've got a mentor who's a much older guy named Nick Murray, and he's an advisor to financial advisors. He's written several books, and before I even started in the business, I read the first book of his, and now I've read all of them and go to this event every year. Normally it's in New York. With pandemic times, it's virtual this year, but he's got a way to kind of simplify things, and I'm a big believer in that when it comes to just investments and answers. So on the financial side, it's really not overcomplicating it. And when should you invest money? When you have it. When should you sell investments? When you need it. It's very kind of basic stuff. But from a business success point of view, I've told this analogy to tennis friends occasionally over the years, but the process is really simple. And when I was a tennis pro, and again, I'm still a tennis pro in some senses. I'm not teaching a bunch of lessons, but you think about what you do. You meet with who you're teaching lessons. You talk for a minute. Hey, what do you want to do? I want to beat my neighbor. I want to learn how to play. I want to be the club champion. There's something, and you kind of hear that from them and listen, and then you hit a few balls and you see where they're at, what the real deal is,
right.
And then you make a plan, like if they have a horrible backhand and you find out, okay, we're going to learn how to hit that. We're going to practice it and we're going to accomplish the goal. Financial planning is so similar. We talk about it. What do you want to do? I want to retire. I want to pay for my kids' college. I want to buy a house. I have, goals. And then we look at, okay, where are you at? Do you have any debt? Do you have any assets? Where are your investments? We look at their statements. You kind of see where you're really at, right? and then you make a plan, and then you help them along the way, which is the same process. And as a tennis pro, I don't know where it came about to just, kind of enjoy people and get along with people, but the skill sets are very similar. And I know you guys have had all different kinds of clients, and you got your 3-0 ladies and your 5-5 men and all in between. And if you can get along with people, and they leave the court having had a great time and enjoying their time, and they like you, and everybody wins. And so I'm just a big believer that all these cases, everybody wins. And the beauty of it is the longer you're in it, the more your clients look like you, and you enjoy them, and you have nobody that you're like, oh no, it's Craig.
That's right. That's Carden. Craig Carden. He's not meaning Craig Ball.
Oh, it's Carden. But when the phone rings, it's awesome to get to the point where really you enjoy all your clients, and you don't have to work with anybody. You work with people you can help and people you enjoy.
Awesome. Speaking of enjoy, I want to get to your future projects in a moment, but you enjoy tennis so much and you play almost every day. Tell us about your tennis and fitness program these days.
Well, we lived at Brookhaven for basically 20 years, and I'm a lifetime member there.
Yeah.
In fact, I joined when I was still a pro at Four Seasons. And part of the frustration was, to want to go play golf or just do something as an employee in that Four Seasons corporate world. It was kind of, it'd get loose and you could do whatever you wanted. There was times as a pro there where I played a ton of golf, and Nick Thurman, squash racquetball pro there, and we played so much golf for a while. But then it would get tight, and you'd have to get 3 signatures approved by people to go play. And so I joined Brookhaven, and then was on a tennis team very early on, like 20 years ago. And then at one point, I was on this list for lifetime memberships, and there's a couple of them out there for these generally 90-year-old guys that you can either pass it to your family, or there's a way that the club course sells it. I end up getting a phone call, hey, are you still interested? And so I did that, and I'm pretty committed to Brookhaven. So there's Larry Harley has a bunch of good players, 6 a.m. Wednesday, Friday, 5 o'clock Mondays, 7:30 Saturdays. It's kind of like I've got 4 days a week that are set, and a bunch of good tennis friends that's pretty high level tennis. And you play at 6 in the morning, you're done by 7:30, you grab a shower, go to work, and it's a great way to start the day. And then I'll throw in hopefully another day or two of tennis. And my longtime buddy in Nice, Missouri, and I would play on the clay at lunch, maybe Tuesday, Thursday. And Sasha, Ermakov, a few of these other guys that if I can get a little singles in, it fills up the whole week. And
tremendous. We've had Sasha Ermakov. He played at Harvard, and he's been on our show. Yep. Do you ever play with his dad?
Absolutely.
You did?
I've played with his dad more than I've played with him.
Oh, wow.
And I ended up playing a club championship at Brookhaven with Sasha when he was just graduating, and he was still, 22 or 20, very, very young. And we dominated, and I got no credit whatsoever.
Oh, no.
All these Brookhaven guys were like, yeah, nice way to pick a partner.
Yeah, and you're still doing it well.
Oh, well, I played it with his dad. I played it with a niece. We've won the club championship, or I've won it with each of them, and then niece and I a few times. But it's coming up again, I think, next month. Hopefully I can get another one.
So are you getting up at 6 in the morning tomorrow morning?
No, not Mondays.
Not Mondays. Oh, that's your sleep-in day, right?
Sleep fit. Okay. Well, I will try not to keep you too long, but I do want to get back to Wealth Partners Alliance and tell us about the future and what some of your plans might be business-wise or tennis, either way.
Sure. Well, the next piece is we've taken over basically the rest of the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So we had half the second floor, and we took over most of the rest of the floor. So we're recruiting some more advisors to join us, and a couple are kind of in the wings, coming and to be named later. But growing my practice, improving my practice, it's been kind of the next step, and things have loosened up. Like we talked a long time ago, I think it was about doing this podcast. I don't know if you remember, I was like, yeah, I'd love to, but I can't. I'm kind of in a restricted place.
I remember this well, yes.
We talked after I had left, and you kind of said, what about now? I was like, yeah, hey, now it's much more freedom and control. And so we're going to do several things. Our website, we're improving. We're filming a bunch of videos. It's just hiring more people, about giving better service and kind of raising the level. And so that's business-wise. And tennis-wise, I just need to eat better and get more stretching and massage so I can keep playing. It was so much fun playing. The physical, the hard part. I'm getting old.
You're only 40-something, and I must say, for the folks at home who don't know Brookhaven Country Club, you've got a place with indoor tennis, fitness, clay, and outdoor tennis, and you've gotten quite a bit fitter. Has it coincided with your job change about a year ago or almost a year ago?
I don't know. I don't know what you're seeing, AJ. I'm carrying about 20 pounds right now, so I just got to eat better. But the club is, without a doubt, we were in Los Angeles for about 3 months at the beginning of the pandemic, and really locked down, couldn't do anything. And it makes you realize how good it is just to be able to play and play every day.
Yeah.
Is another level. And so I've been loving the fact that life has become a lot more back to normal. I go to the office every day. I play tennis every day. I swimming and hanging out with the kids, and it's a healthy place where it wasn't as healthy, locked up in Los Angeles and eating too much.
Well, I'm very happy for you. Well done. Craig Bell, should we get to the third set?
Oh, sure.
Let's do a quick ad read. We have a sponsor for this one.
Yes, we do.
Who are we rolling with, Craig?
Wealth Financial Planners. That'd be Patrick Fontana.
WPA. Is that the sponsor all
That's
of a sudden?
It. Oh, yeah. All of a sudden.
Fontana Financial within WPA, right. Yes.
I ad-lib really well. So.
Perfect.
No, we also have Blair Descaray with Master Systems.
Great company.
If you look up on top up there right above us, anybody that needs any resurfacing, court work, court products, accessories.
Not just tennis courts, right?
Yes.
Basketball, pickleball, sport court,
right.
And tennis, of course.
And Patrick's a famous pickleball player, too, I think. Aren't you Pickleball Patrick? Don't they call you that?
I played pickleball before pickleball was cool.
No kidding. Did you use the wooden paddles? Were you a wooden paddle guy?
This is way old school, but back at Kirksville, Missouri, the fraternity intramural championships, we played pickleball. So I won pickleball in 1990, 91, 92, 93.
Amazing.
Wow. Man, I had never heard of pickleball till about 8 years ago. I never had come across my radar screen. Interesting that Patrick had played pickleball. So.
Yeah.
Well, in Missouri, there's not much going on. Probably Kirksville, right? Is it pretty subdued up there with the Bulldogs, right?
Yep.
Bulldogs. Nice going, buddy.
Truman State
Craig
Bulldogs.
knows all the mascots. And
unfortunately, they dropped men's tennis, so I'm not as big a supporter of the Bulldogs. I moved my support to the Baylor Bears.
Yeah.
And every time I'm at a Baylor match, Patrick Fontana is definitely there.
Yes, indeed. We're going to have to take a bus again down to Waco and go to a good one.
Definitely. We got to do a good one. I believe they're playing UT. I believe they're playing SMU down there. And the Bryan brothers, who you have been with when they were here in Irving, Texas, they're coming down to Waco September 16th. Is that right?
I just found out about that.
Good.
I got some hookups. AJ knows what's going on in the world.
He's plugged in.
When he said, I just heard about it, I texted him that poster this morning.
This man is.
So let's all go.
He knows what's going on. He's got his ear to the ground.
I'm going to have to talk to Coach Woodson and say, hey, man, you didn't tell me about this thing.
Right.
I'm to make it anyway, but I'm a big supporter
For sure.
of Woodson and the program. They're going to be strong. They've got their top 3 guys back, and they were top of the heap last year.
Oh, they were such a force, and semis a couple of years ago, and then finals of the whole Nationals number 2 in the whole country, and they just were edged by Florida this past year.
Yeah, I mean, the state of Texas has unbelievable tennis right now.
Unreal.
That's University of Texas won, 2-3 years ago? Trying to remember. About 3 maybe, and then Baylor.
It was 19, then there wasn't
19.
a 20, and then Florida over Baylor in 21.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
I think Baylor would have won for sure that one year that got skipped, but we'll never know.
I agree with you. Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely their goal for this year, and they got all the way to the final.
Right.
So good stuff. Craig Bell, third set, man.
Let's go. Third set. Let's
roll.
All right. Are you ready for this, Patrick? You've probably been waiting for this.
So.
Big rock and roll fan.
Okay. First band you saw in concert?
Kiss.
Kiss?
Yeah.
Right behind you? You've got.
Went to Kiss. It wasn't even really my choice. I just, I was in, where was it? Hampton, Virginia.
Hampton,
Langley
Virginia.
Air Force Base. Went to see Kiss. My dad was assigned there, and that was my first concert.
Wow. Did you go backstage and all that kind of stuff, or just a
Oh,
regular?
not at all. Not at all. I had big LP, Kiss Alive 2 or Double Platinum or something, and I used to hold my tape recorder up next to the radio, and wait for it to come on and record it.
The 2 buttons, timing it just right when the DJ shuts up and the music rolls.
Exactly, but it did make me a Kiss fan. I've been back an embarrassing amount of shows.
Favorite.
It's good.
Gene
Really
Simmons,
good
is he your favorite? Who's your favorite? Of the Peter Criss?
No.
Ace Frehley?
All of them. Ace Frehley's gone. He's not around. He was. I like the guitar stuff, but Gene Simmons is a piece of work, man. Those guys are in their 70s and they're still rocking it. It's pretty impressive.
They had
crazy.
a lot of songs. If you start thinking about, when you said Kiss, I was like, those guys weren't bad musicians. They had a bad shtick, but it was.
I feel like they were bad musicians, and
You
then
think?
they became great musicians.
Okay. Well,
Maybe.
they were pretty decent, but they had a lot of songs.
They did.
Their
They did.
catalog's pretty good. I mean, if you start thinking about them.
Paul Stanley's got a lot of talent. And,
Yes.
those guys actually stayed at the Four Seasons back in the day.
Did they really? Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things about being a pro there, and I'm sure Craig remembers this, is you get some celebrities and people coming through, and you're never to ask for an autograph or bother them. And so that was one I had a hard time with. As I'm walking through fitness, back in the late '90s as a tennis pro, to be like, wow, that is Kiss right there. I gotta just walk by, can't do anything.
Yeah.
But,
I got to see the Chicago guys were there, Chicago band.
Oh, yeah.
And that was one. Yeah, I played in the band in Oklahoma, and I was a trumpet player, and it was great. Yeah, you were correct. Yeah, there were some people, and I got to talk to them. They were actually really cool, and it was nice. You get some perks. No autograph, just regular person.
And Craig, knowing you, this was when they were Chicago Transit Authority? Or they were Chicago. Okay. You're not that old. Okay.
I remember when they were Chicago Transit Authority. I'm not quite that old, but
Before Cetera. No,
Yeah,
you
I know
were.
who they
You were.
were.
Yeah,
Right.
you did.
yeah, I was rocking a little Chicago actually tonight when I get ready.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Here's Steely Dan.
Yeah, I always
Chicago.
roll up, and he's
Yeah.
got some good stuff playing. Always,
Yep.
he's spinning. Yeah.
All right. So now, if you could hear a band, is there a band that you haven't heard maybe that you would like to hear?
Shoot, I used to go to a lot of shows, and I think it'd be more wanting to see one of the ones again. But who have I not heard? There was a couple that I was into and never heard. Probably like Nirvana.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never hear them, but that would have been great. I got hooked on that one. 311 is a kind of old band.
That's one of Sasha's favorite bands, 311.
Really?
Yeah. He's seen them in
We've
concert.
never made that connection.
You better next time you play. Yeah.
311. Who
Yeah.
are they?
I'm
an old guy. Yeah.
They're I would say mid '90s. They were pretty popular.
okay.
A couple great albums. Yeah.
311. I'll have to check
U2
that.
I've seen, but I want to see him again. That was really good.
Who was
I took
that?
my son to Kiss, and then we also saw Elton John, and I was shocked that he didn't want to go to Kiss again. It was good. He loved seeing it, but it wasn't like exciting to go again. Elton John, he wanted to see him again.
Really?
Yeah.
We ended up going once in LA and once in Dallas. And then I was in New York on a business trip, and I always like to look at this app. It's called Game Time. You could get like a single ticket just last second. And, when you're by yourself in a city and you get a single seat, I love doing that. So I ended up seeing that, and I've done several shows like that where I'll just grab a seat. And I went to a Cubs.
Dallas, that weird little amazing sound in that place.
So early Four Seasons days, I taught early birds, which was a 6 a.m. drill on Tuesday, Thursdays, and ended up being really 4 guys that I did that with all the time. But there was always a couple other, stragglers that would come and go, and one of them was a guy named Ray Compton. And Ray Compton became one of my best friends, and he ran the Bronco Bowl. And when I was, first met him, and he's like, "Do you like music?" "Oh, yeah." And then he was inviting me to stuff. And I went to the Bronco Bowl so much and saw so many bands there. I mean, Moby and just everybody. So I love the Bronco Bowl. It was very small. It was intimate. And I had kind of the free range, go everywhere, because Ray Compton was my boy. And he knew everybody. I can tell you stories on Ray Compton. I mean, he and I both used to live downtown, and he'd, call on his way home. And he's a guy who would stay out all night. He would come to that 6 a.m. drill.
Wow.
Show. He hadn't been to bed yet, and he'd show up for 6 a.m. tennis drill.
He'd hit early birds, then go to bed.
He'd hit early birds and go to bed. But,
amazing.
So did you do any bowling at the Bronco Bowl? Because I know those who are not around this area, it was a bowling alley / musical place.
Concert venue, yeah.
I mean, bowling and music, they go together, really.
Yeah, of course.
It was an odd place looking back on it. It was so good for having a show. And I've been to the Blues, what's it called, House of Blues. It's similar in that it's kind of small. So I like that. I saw I guess my most recent show was AJR. I think it's AJR. And Jordan McGraw, Phil's son, was opening up for him. It was really good.
Oh, wow.
Interesting, yeah.
Dr. Phil's kid is a musician.
He is a big-time musician, and he's right now opening up for the Jonas Brothers.
Wow.
He's
big
traveling
names.
with them for they're back on tour right now.
What's he play? Is he a guitarist or?
He plays. He's lead singer. I mean, it's his own band, but he's musical in that he does a lot of those other things. But he's got a band, and he's got some good stuff.
Is he like a one-man band like Ed Sheeran, or is he,
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him. I've seen him. I learned that musician, means playing instruments, because I never knew that. The kid telling me the rules, but yeah, he's a musician. He's talented. And found out the Jonas Brothers. He's very tight with a couple of them, and they write music together, and they do a lot together.
Interesting. We're learning all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
About this man. Man, Patrick, he's just all over it.
No question.
Who's your favorite band?
Not a musician.
What's that?
Not a musician.
Yep. Well, that's all right. You enjoy the music world. Who's your favorite band then? Out of all this great music you've seen, who's your favorite band?
Oh, Kiss.
Kiss. Okay.
Kiss. Yeah.
Yeah. We had Rick Eckloff chime in and say, "Marketing geniuses, okay musicians."
That sounds right.
Nick Smith, our buddy Nick Smith, says
right.
Bronco Bowl was great. Saw some good shows there as well. You might have seen Nick Smith down there. You know Nick from Denison?
No, it rings a bell, but I don't know if I've come across
good.
Nick at the Lakes was popping in my mind when you say Nick.
Yeah, no, this is Nick Smith.
Another great
not
tennis
Nick
player.
Johnson, but Nick Smith actually teaches for Nick Johnson occasionally.
Yeah, that's right.
He'll come down. What type of music do you like? Do you like all sorts of music? Are you into jazz, rock, Zydeco, classical?
It's rock, pretty much all rock, kind of 80s rock probably.
I know AC/DC features on your playlists.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah.
My kids have been playing piano and doing some of that, and I'm starting to enjoy some other stuff that they listen to, but it's rock, 80s rock.
Your kids are very, very tapped into entertainment. Tell us about how you got them or how they got you into that lifestyle, and your wife, Yvonne, too. Tell us about it.
Well, my son Tanner is 21, and when he was 7 years old, my wife was selling jewelry,
Uh-huh.
and she makes jewelry. And she was at one of these events. I don't know what you'd call it, but a lot of ladies selling things. And she had her, area there, and the lady next to her was selling candles. And back then, it wasn't so much cell phones, but she had pictures, of Tanner. And big stack, like month 1, month 2, it was like, here's the pictures of my baby. And
Cute little kid, yeah.
this lady ended up saying, hey, I need to hire him. You need to bring him in or whatever. And she had a modeling agency, or has a modeling agency. It's the Campbell Agency. And so randomly, the lady selling candles was, old lady Campbell, who runs a big modeling agency.
Uh-huh.
Signed Tanner for some modeling jobs. And as a kid, you get sucked into it, and you do some print work for JCPenney or something, and next thing you know, there's a casting director, try out for a commercial, and we got a Nerf commercial, and then there was something else, and next thing you know, he's got an agent, and he's running around doing this stuff, and then later he got a TV show, and it just got out of control. And so the other kids are 15 and 13, and they got signed up from birth. So, Brooke was doing modeling jobs in her diapers, as a 6 months old baby in the JCPenney catalog. So, now my wife has gone overboard with that, and we have 3 acting children that are all in SAG and have an agent and manager, and we end up buying a house out there. That's why I've been out in California so much.
It's a good thing they look like their mom.
That's they look a little like Patrick too. I like the dark hair. Hey, Yvonne, I bet doesn't make jewelry anymore, and she kind of full-time manages the 3 artists.
She makes jewelry for stress relief.
I see.
She doesn't have. She has a lot of inventory. She's not selling it so much, but yeah, she's a momager. And
momager.
Yeah, the folks in Hollywood have some of these terms. She's a momager, so she's not technically doing anything, but she gets them where they need to be.
Great word.
Does she have an SUV that she drives around in L.A., the kids in?
Well, she's got a Honda, what do you call it, a Pacifica, really fancy minivan that does everything.
So she's a mom in a minivan.
Love it.
She wouldn't want to be described that way, but yeah.
I realized, Craig, that convivial was the word of the day, but momager is good.
Yes, that's a good one.
Hollyweird is great.
Yes.
May I add California to it?
California Stan.
California Stan.
We're going to get shot off
We got plenty of good portmanteaus tonight.
I wouldn't be surprised if Facebook just knocks us off the
that was not a woke minute there. It's okay. We're back.
Presidents.
All right, so we better keep going so they don't kick us off. All
That's right.
If you're in a band, what position are you? Are you the lead singer? Now, this tells a lot about your personality.
This is the most character revealing of the third set.
Singer, lead guitarist, drummer, keyboards, bass guitarist, or glockenspiel player like me. I play glockenspiel. I have a mean glockenspiel.
I hate to take a left turn on you, but I can't go for any of those.
No,
I'm gonna have to step aside with the manager, and I'll manage the money for these guys, get them a good agent, good contract.
No. We didn't say agent. You got to be up on stage. Hypothetically.
Was there a bassist in there? Somebody that just blocks everyone else out and just dumb, or the drummer. I don't know, drummer or bassist.
Okay.
I wouldn't be the lead guitar or the singer. I don't think it'd work very well.
No, we'd like to say this is kind of fun just to see where people are in the band. It's kind of fun.
I just tried to remove myself from the band altogether.
You did.
I love
That's
it.
Right. I liked it that you're agent.
He's that committed to wealth management. That was great.
He's very convivial.
Money.
He's very convivial. First paid job. Let's go into the second set of the third set. First paid job. Did you have a little job, in Leavenworth, Kansas? Were you like prison guard at 14?
Well, paid. I had a lawn mowing business in the fourth grade where I went up and down, and this was in Harker Heights, Texas, at Fort Hood.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And I had a gas can and my lawnmower, and I went up and down the street. And then when we moved to Burke, 7th and 8th grade, I was a Washington Post paper boy. And I still have my Washington Post bag, and it was awesome. For a high school kid, or not even high school, I was making a lot of money.
Yeah.
It was $8.30, and most of those people in that neighborhood would, give you a 10.
Yeah.
And had a big route and made good money for a kid. And I had to get up early and run. We had a huge storm. I've got the plaque in my office here somewhere, like the blizzard of whatever year. And they were impressed with us because it was 2 feet of snow, and you deliver those papers. They gave us a plaque.
Craig, it's amazing how many of our guests, of course, all successful in their own right, amazing how many have had a paper route or some sort of an entrepreneurial thing early in life, and this man has had 2, lawn mowing business and
Pat's Racket Shop. I was stringing rackets in high school. That was I strung all through college. I string so many rackets. I've committed to never string one again. But
Your calluses had calluses. That's why he wants to be bass guitarist, because he has calluses on those.
We're both master racket technicians, but like your wife, when I string, it's for stress release. I just string because I like it. And, of course, I'm not doing 10, 15 rackets a day. I'm just doing 4 a week, for myself, for my son. But I love the stress release. So that's a cool job you had.
I take some pride in the fact that I fired myself as a lawn guy. I fired myself as a stringer. I want to fire myself from a few more of those past jobs.
Oh, Paperboy, you're up at 6 in the morning, playing tennis. Maybe you can throw a route before. With the,
That's right. On the way to the club.
Dallas Morning News. It does say morning. So
that's right.
You can go drop a few papers off around Brookhaven
when it's dark still. Yeah.
Right.
I might wear out my serving arm though, throwing those things. It's kind of that helps.
Backhands for sure. You've got a rock and roll one-hander.
So did you fold it up, or were you like a plastic bag kid?
No, I fold and rubber band. Rubber band.
Like the quadrangle kind of deal, and then you flicked it out there?
Well, I was 7 days a week, so Sunday was just a big beast.
Right.
And then, Monday, Tuesday, I could fire those things about 50 yards. So it depended upon the day, how big the paper was and how you roll it. Then there's a weekly called the Burke Connection, and that one was also small. That one I would ride my bike right down the middle of the street and hit both sides.
Boom, boom.
But, the Washington Post, I had to run along the front of the house and drop it on the doorstep, because that's how you got the good tips.
That extra service instead of in the bushes.
Customer experience, and he's using it today with Fontana Financial.
Did you have any moments where you might kind of I didn't get it quite where I wanted, maybe a window, or did you any one of those kind of embarrassing moments?
Absolutely, yeah. You got to turn around. It's hard. I would put these Burke Connection on my handlebars. So 100 papers up there. That would be a real pain to turn around and go get one out of the bushes. So you got to get after it.
Any dogs come after you at 5 in the morning? Did you have a few of those?
No.
Not really?
No. I think they're sleeping, man.
Yeah. Favorite movie, TV show? What do you like to watch? Netflix? Are you a TV guy, movie guy, any kind of thing like that?
Well, I've become a binge watcher, and I have a note in my phone where I'm collecting suggestions for new series of stuff. And so, favorite movie goes back to high school. When we moved to Korea, we had nothing. They have AFKN, one station. And so whatever's on AFKN, Armed Forces Korea Network, that's what you're watching.
Yeah.
So we had very limited inventory. And in our house, we only had 2 movies, and that was Fletch and Spies Like Us.
Both Chevy Chase vehicles.
Right.
I'm a Chevy Chase fan, and I've watched those 2 movies an embarrassing amount of times. My brother and I, when you start the line, we could finish it. So just out of history, those are good. But TV shows, I love anything that'll latch me in. I'll watch it all the way to the end. You know, it's started with 24. I was stuck in an out-of-town airport and had a bad travel experience. I bought this DVD set back before you could stream it all.
Yeah.
And I watched the entire 24 hours and discovered binge watching. And so now that's the way I do it. I get hooked on a show. I watch it up until it's through it.
Well,
Such a good
breakfast, lunch, dinner. What's your favorite?
I'm a breakfast guy. I go to breakfast pretty much every day, and I'm struggling with that right now because I'm thinking about doing some intermittent fasting, and doesn't fit well with a breakfast guy.
Yeah,
but
right.
I love breakfast meetings, and I know when I started my the financial planning business, that was my business plan. Not dinner or lunch, but breakfast every day. And I would love, I took really everybody I knew back then to breakfast. And the whole pitch was, can I just tell you my business plan and pick your brain? And I would tell them, hey, here's what I'm looking to do. And what do you think? And if I was starting again today, I'd take you guys to breakfast and ask you the same thing. Hey, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think? And then listen to what they have to say. And they invariably came up with stuff that I never would have thought of. And it led to, lots of things. So I love breakfast, and it's simple. You can't mess it up. I've never had a bad breakfast.
It's hard to
People
mess
distracted either.
hard-boiled eggs or oatmeal. That's pretty tough to mess up there. Speaking of food, okay, so you're going to have this dinner party at the Fontana house or soiree. We like to say soiree.
Yes.
We like to use the big words around here. Convivial soiree. It's going to be a convivial soiree. 4 guests or more. Who would you invite? They can be any time in history. Current. Past. Present. Future. Maybe there's somebody in the future you want. We don't know about that. You know about. Maybe you'd like to invite them. At least 3 or 4 people. And
Okay.
they can be. Who would you invite besides us? We're there.
Any era, any time you can dig back in history.
Oh man,
That's a good question.
Selfish of the people that I just enjoy listening to, and Nick Murray, this guy who's kind of a mentor. I literally I pay a lot of money to go spend one day with him each year. Just hear his stuff and his scripting and how he views things, and he's got this sense of humor that kills me. I mean, he's got no you ask him a question, he'll be very quick to make you feel horrible and stupid and just tell you what it is. So I'd have Nick there. Phil McGraw,
Definitely.
he is had so many he's got a great delivery, just guys sitting around shooting the breeze about something. And, he may not say much sometimes, but then when he throws it out there, it's like you're just dying. I heard him say one this weekend. He's in all these meetings, big successful guy doing all kinds of businesses. And he said, "I'm not an attorney. And I'm not bragging." You got a room full of attorneys, and they have him say, "I'm not an attorney. I'm not bragging."
I'm not bragging.
Right. And I'm not bragging.
That's beautiful.
But
So you got
my
Nick.
dad, he's he's in his 70s, and he's just so much fun to he's got to be no filter and inappropriate, and just it would liven up the dinner table, no question, because people will love him because he's funny, but they'll also he's going to ask those questions, and he'll get into anything that no one else may not bring up. So what am I up to 3? I need
I bet he'd have a great podcast. That guy your dad must be awesome.
Hey, my dad is like Chevy Chase, man.
Is he?
He looks like him. He acts like him.
He really looks like him too, huh?
Which Chevy Chase is he? Is he like it, in Fletch Chevy Chase, or is he, Chevy Chase from Vacation? Chevy Chase from Caddyshack? All of them.
He's from Vacation, but he's aged a little bit. He's got the white hair now.
Yep.
Yeah, that was Vacation, Caddyshack. All those were great.
Saturday night.
If you ever asked him about the Fetzer valve, what would he say?
It's it's all ball bearings these days. just getting a bird's eye view here.
Yeah. That's,
My car just hit a water buffalo. Could I borrow your towel?
he did.
Tennis player.
He was. He's a big hitter. Yeah.
Like the llama. He's
Like the llama. Big hitter llama.
big hitter,
Yeah.
the llama. Yeah, he's like the llama. So, so he threw another reference in. But anyway, and then so you got your dad. Then somebody fourth one. Is there somebody that comes to mind besides AJ and I? We know we'd be there too.
Oh, I've got a couple of longtime clients that are just close friends, brilliant guys that are well read, and I'll call them out, I guess. Is a guy named Ron Douglas. I don't know if you remember Ronnie D.
Yeah.
Four Seasons.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of my early birds. 6 a.m. He no longer lives in Dallas, but he's just one of those guys that he's out not out in the country, but kind of out away from town, and he's just reads a lot and listens to podcasts. And every time we're talking about an idea, I'll mention something that I find that's good. He'll take it to another level. Like a good podcast. Like, oh yeah, I got this podcast, and then next thing you know, he listened to all of them and knows everything and read the book. And
Amazing.
I bring Ronnie D, and then I share Mavericks tickets with a guy named Alan Barron. He's a Fort Worth guy. He's a tennis player. He's a Texas Tech boy out from Plains, Texas, and he's just a lot of fun. We've been, on some a lot of fun things together. I bring those guys. I'm up to 5 already. I'm getting in trouble.
That's okay.
That's a great group.
Yes, yeah.
I've got to cook more food now. We're gonna.
All right. So now,
Speaking of food,
yeah, Nick Murray is he Andy Murray's brother? Andy's your brother?
I did.
Yeah, it's great. I've read 4 or 5 of his books, and he's I've learned a lot. So I'm looking forward to the 7th book one day soon.
Thank you, Andy. See, so Andy Murray does know Nick Murray too.
Yeah, I saw Andy. He was on the court with one of the Baylor guys. He was doing a practice session.
it was Matias Soto, the Davis Cupper from Chile. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that kid's amazing, and I'm sure Murray loved making him run because Soto runs like a deer. He's amazing.
Yeah, that was cool to see.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. East Coast, West Coast. I think I have an idea what you're going to say, but are you an East Coast guy or West Coast guy?
Man, I guess I got to go West Coast, but I've got more history in the East Coast. My grandparents were in D.C., and I, been up and down both of them. But California stand has been less appealing to hang out at. There's definitely some cool stuff there, but Florida. So there's some good beaches. East Coast, I switched east, but they're both good. Any coast is good. I like. A non-answer.
Yeah, that was a non-answer.
That was.
From a guy who played in the Far East Games,
Yes.
grew up in D.C., played college tennis in the middle of the middle, Leavenworth, Kansas, and now represented Los Angeles in this amazing tournament, and he lives in Dallas.
And he won't make a commitment.
And he won't make a commitment because he's got too much history in all 5 places, right?
Everywhere is good, yeah.
Well, then mountains or beach? Are you a mountain guy or beach guy?
I'm a mountain guy. My parents were ski bums, and my mom went skiing when she was pregnant with me. And they literally, when I dropped out, they just threw me on skis, and we've skied every year my entire life. I had a couple clients invited me on a heli skiing trip my first year in the business. And so I've got some skiing clients, and I go skiing every year. I love skiing. My biggest worry now is I don't want to hurt myself. I get a little too aggressive with my skiing. So
going
mountain guy.
going down that rabbit hole, what's your favorite ski place? Are there a couple?
Well, Breckenridge is the place that my parents have been the most, and it's family friendly, and you can go to Main Street and eat. And my parents actually have a timeshare right off Main Street, and so I'd put Breckenridge up there. far as, like where I would go today, but I like heli skiing. It's, Bugaboos and Banff. There's a couple heli skiing trips I went on that just don't hold a candle to anything. And it's a whole nother level. It's like playing in a perfect court versus playing in a, an old beat up park. And heli skiing is pretty cool.
So what kind of skis are you using these days? You must own several pair, I would imagine.
Well, I own none. And
really?
now it's a pain to carry skis around. And so I've had at least 10 years where I don't, the technology gets better every year. And basically I'm getting new boots right now. And so I just travel with boots and use demos. And so whatever the latest demo is, I'm good with that. And, skis have just come about so drastically that it's almost like, owning a 1-year-old computer, it's already outdated and it's kind of no point. I don't ski enough to have them. I actually have an Epic Pass. And a couple of my LA friends, we go to Mammoth, and you can get up there in about 4 hours if you leave real early. But I don't ski enough to love skis around.
But at least the good pair of boots that fit you, that's more important than renting some at the shop, right?
I actually have a go bag, and my go bag is loaded up with exactly what I need. And if I flew into Los Angeles, I could grab my bag and just be good to go. It's just boots and basic gear, and I wear the same thing every day. And I'm a minimalist, so it works.
Love it.
Hopefully you wash stuff. If you wear the same thing every day, do you wash? You throw it in the laundry?
You need fresh socks and underwear. You're skiing for 2 days, you can't wash that stuff. Gear.
All right, sunrise, sunset. I have an idea what you're going to say here too. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise is good. Sunrise is good. As much as I don't like it sometimes, I think I've just become accustomed. And actually recently read a book, 5 a.m. Club, and it made me reinvigorated to the fact that so much gets done if you get up. Early bird gets a worm, and I played in early birds, or I taught early birds back at the Four Seasons, and I play early birds at Brookhaven, so get up early.
Well, he had a paper route too, so he was up early.
He knows it. Yeah.
What's your favorite season? Are you a summer, fall, winter, spring guy? Of the 4 seasons, which one do you favor?
Oh, I guess spring. Winter's only good if you're in the mountains and you're skiing, and I've never lived full time there. Actually, even if I lived there, I wouldn't. Yeah, spring. Summer's too hot. Winter's snowy and icy. At least the way I picture it. So I do spring. That's a good time of year.
After living in Utah for three winters, I agree. I like Utah in the summertime, but wintertime I'm with you. Springtime or summer, something like
so
that.
So is spring a mud season in Utah? Is that the mud season?
Yeah, it's the rainy season. When I was there, it just snowed like crazy, and it's a beautiful place right now. My wife's up there, and we were talking. It was 75, 80 degrees where she was at today in Logan, Utah. But it's not.
Utah.
What's that?
Logan, Utah, good place to be.
It is. Yeah. 2 of my kids go up there to school right now to Utah State. Nobody wanted to go to Weber State. I couldn't talk them in to be a Wildcat. They all wanted to head further north for some reason. So, but that's their fault. Favorite holiday? What's your favorite holiday?
Ooh. Well, Thanksgiving and Christmas kind of blend together. We alternate in my family. We've got Phoenix and Dallas, and usually they flip-flop. And so whenever I go to Phoenix, it's pretty good because we've got a lot of cousins. The kids are all intertwined with playing with them, and I can unplug and not have to do anything. And so that's either Thanksgiving or Christmas. Christmas is great, but Thanksgiving, the weather's still good, and you don't have that risk of being nasty out. So I'll do Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Phoenix at that time of the year, whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas, that's a pretty nice place. Now, right now, I don't know about
I
that.
don't want to go. Yeah.
It's a little warm out there right
But
now.
it's a dry heat.
It's the dry heat. Yeah, it's not humid
Sorry.
out there. It's only 140.
It's only 120 though.
Our buddy Georgie Schulberg's out there. He was sitting in the pool. Right. You know George, don't you? Do you remember George Schulberg? Used to be the pro at Royal Oaks. Now he's the pro out at Arizona,
Phoenix, Arizona CC.
Yeah,
Yep.
Arizona Country Club, and he's
Oh,
old
I
Georgie.
didn't know he's out there.
Yeah, he's out there now. He texted us a picture of what he was doing. He was laying in his pool,
Yeah.
like relaxing. And we were like, "Don't."
You have to do out there. We were just there. We moved my niece into University of Arizona. We were in Tucson for 2 days, and it was miserable. It was painful.
Oh yes,
In the
yeah,
pool, and that was okay.
yeah. Pool pond. Yeah,
A little Chevy reference there from
Pool
Caddyshack.
pond. You'd be good for the pond.
No.
Besides skiing and going to the pool, what do you like to do in your spare time when you have spare moment? Do you play video games behind, like Pac-Man? Do you have a Pac-Man behind you? Is that what that is?
I do. It's got Miss Pac-Man, Galaga, Donkey Kong. This machine has everything.
Asteroids? Do you have Asteroids? Now, Asteroids is my game. I owned Asteroids in Oklahoma City at the 7-Eleven, man. I was Asteroids champ on Wilshire Boulevard.
Oh, you're talking Chevy Chase there.
I'm lucky enough never to have had asteroids.
You never played
I've never
Asteroids?
needed
Oh, my
preparation
goodness.
H or anything. I've never needed any of
Yeah,
that.
those Asteroids. Yeah, those hurt. Yeah.
That's for you.
That machine actually is that's no stress relief. That's kind of stressful. But, I had to buy it because my kids do these complicated video games and I can't do it with them.
I remember you were so happy when you bought it. Like several months ago, you were like, "Man, I got this great thing in my kid's room. It's going to be amazing."
And now it's in his room, right?
And now it's in the office. Yeah.
Right.
This thing, yeah, it's but
No, seriously, what do you like to do in your spare moment? When you besides you play tennis, we know that.
Oh yeah.
Is there anything that do you unwind? Listening to a Nick Murray podcast or something, or read a book?
yeah, I wish he did a podcast. He doesn't ever do anything like that. But I read. I'll read my Nick Murray. I like to read, so I've gotten away, I guess, from relaxing reading. It's more audible as I'm moving to and from, but reading is relaxing, especially if I was, at a pool in the shade, kind of chilling out. But golf, I aspire to play. I just don't end up doing it enough. But I enjoy golf. I enjoy reading. That's the other things I do.
Yeah, well, golf's fun. I mean,
Well, hopefully we'll put table tennis and a beer or two or Republic on the spare time docket.
Oh, absolutely. I can do that.
Good.
All right, let's go to the third set of the third set. How's
Yes,
that?
the last segment.
We're going to tie this back into some tennis stuff.
Good.
First racket. What was the first racket that you played with that young Patrick Fontana played with?
It was a Prince Pro.
Yeah, the black with the gold stripe, the metal with the plastic throat.
Got a Spectrum Comp, Prince Graphite, and then I was on to the Pro Tour 280 from Tomas Muster.
Oh, that was the best. That gorgeous blue and like heavy and amazing racket. People still.
I played my best tennis. That was in the end at Manitou, and I played for a German club team. That was, my best tennis was with that racket. But now I've been with the Prestige head for, they probably don't make it anymore. It's outdated, but I've got a few of those sticks still. So
and that's kind of a similar racket. And these days, that Pro Tour 280 you're talking about, people pay $600 for that thing on eBay.
Really?
Yeah, that's a cult classic. I hope you held on to one or two.
I got none.
Oh, bummer.
I'm trying to be a minimalist. I've gotten rid of everything.
You have.
That's my entire racket history. Now I've got 6 of those Prestiges in there maybe, but nothing.
Those sweet spots are about the size of a BB. He's still playing some good tennis.
He's still good. He's still so good, this guy, yeah.
Hits a clean ball.
I may be fat, but I sure am slow.
Indoor tennis or outdoor tennis? What's your favorite?
Ooh. Outdoor and good weather, but I'm spoiled with basically now I mostly play indoors at Brookhaven. But when I'm given the opportunity, particularly that LA Dr. Phil clay court, it's tough to beat. The weather's perfect. The That's the best spot. Outdoor, 70 degrees.
No wind.
No wind. That's like you.
Yes, I've had plenty of wind in my day. I'm a wind bag too, so I'm pretty windy.
Yeah.
Most embarrassing moment in tennis. Have you had an embarrassing moment or two out there that you can recall? Did you fall over and jump back up and
I lots of mistakes and lots of embarrassing moments. Embarrassing. I tell you, I told this story this weekend with some of these LA guys, and I'd forgotten about it, but it was weird, more than embarrassing. But I had played tennis in the Bel Air Country Club, and there's no one there. It's literally empty. There's just no people around, so you kind of wonder what's going on. And I finished playing. I went to the locker room, and this is years ago before I had a place there. So I was showering and going to a business meeting that night, and I'm standing there in the locker room. Just got out of the shower, and my tennis bag's on the floor, and this guy walks up, hey, what's up? He's just kind of chatty, and I'm naked, a towel around me, but it's Pete Sampras.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, he's not, from what I know, like very like social guy.
Yeah.
But he just come off the golf course, and he had his tennis bag there, and he's asking about who I played with and how it was, and just talking it up, and it was awkward, but recovered from it, ended up being okay. And then actually I don't remember if Craig came to this, but there was an exhibition match in Frisco, and it was like him and Marty Fish or something, and I had a big group of people. I bought a block of seats, and we had like a little VIP event. And Sampras was my son brought his U.S. Open ball, the big ball. And I'm standing to the side there, and it gets to be his turn. And Sampras looks up, and it's like, hey, what's up?
Bel Air Country Club.
All these people were like, Sampras?
Pete?
Like, not really.
Yeah. And you were like, Pete Sampras had just, with his car, hit a water buffalo, and he needed a towel.
Yeah. It was a weird deal because then maybe 2 years later, there was another exhibition exactly like that. It was like a different player, Marty Fish and Andy Roddick, or vice versa. And my son brought the ball again, and Pete took the ball, and within half a second, he was like, I already signed this.
He spotted his own sig.
Immediately. And that's when, he must have played the game for years to know, like, where he's signing. And he looked up, and saw, he's like, hey, so he signed it twice. So my son probably has the only big ball signed, Pete Sampras twice, because he knew exactly where it was. It was
so
pretty cool.
funny. So funny. I must say, I'm not a huge autograph guy. My son was, but I happen to have a original pro staff spec'd out to like 390 grams like Pete, 4 3/4 inch grip, lead on the sides. Pete once signed the grip, and then a year or two later, I saw him at a Davis Cup, and he just put his PS on the, on the yoke. Yep. So I have a racket that's double signed by Pete to match your boy's ball.
Be careful. If you ever hit with that thing, you're going to injure yourself.
Oh, it is. You got to put gut in it.
Really?
And it does feel good. But you're right. If you have crappy strings in there, it will hurt. Yeah, it's not right.
What's your favorite tournament?
U.S. Open.
U.S. Open.
Yeah. U.S. Open. I've always had a good time there. And Denise and I went a couple of years ago, most recently. It was just awesome. Labor Day weekend, pop up there for 3 days, do something else in the city, see great tennis, stay up till 2 a.m. find a 5-setter on some outdoor court. And every time I've gone, it's been a blast. I took my wife when Rafa was like 17, and we sat, 10 feet behind him, and she'll never forget him picking at Rafa. You've seen Rafa before, haven't you?
He knows Rafa. Do you remember seeing Patrick like Pete Sampras?
Well, I enjoy very much when Patrick comes to watch my matches now. I'm going to work hard. His wife is always appreciating my running, my picking of the bum, and I'm always inspired coming to New York City, no?
That's probably when you were wearing capri pants, too, at that time.
That's right.
Did you remember you had capri pants back in the day, didn't you?
Piratas, those pirate, yeah.
You were very impressive.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. Now, let me. I know you played some pro tennis also too. What was your favorite tournament when you played in the pro ranks?
Well, having never made it to any major, the Canadian Open in Montreal used to alternate Toronto, Montreal, like men and women.
Mm-hmm.
And so the 1995 Canadian Open doubles, which was my stronger forte, getting into the qualifying and to lose, just the fact that we were there.
Yeah.
Who was your partner? Who was your partner? Just out of curiosity.
Well, that was Andrew Smith, Scottish guy that was number one in Scotland, the West Coast Open. He knew Andy Murray, and he knew Robin Scott.
Uh-huh.
He was a good doubles player, and I don't know, I latched on to him. He had enough points, or he had something better than me.
Yeah.
We had a blast in Montreal and went out and just never forget it. That was much better experience than I guess the bulk of any pro tennis was horrible places and horrible situations where I'm sharing a van ride with I'll just say a 7 or 8 Mexican dudes and staying in some crappy hotel, sleeping on the floor.
Yeah.
And your back hurts. Even if you get to the third set, you're in pain. But it was fun, and it was. Unfortunately, I never got to be in any of these, big dog things. I'd love to say, I've played at Wimbledon, but not actually in the tournament. Been to all 4 majors, and they're all awesome. But I guess U.S. Open, just being here, is cool. French Open, all of them are awesome, but I forgot the question now.
I guess the question was
favorite tournament.
Yeah, favorite tournament that you've played, and so you mentioned U.S. Open initially, and then the Canadian Open, Montreal. I think at the time Du Maurier Open, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a hat. I've got a beat-up hat still.
It's so funny back when cigarette companies sponsored all that tennis.
Virginia Slim.
Yeah.
Marble.
I have a picture somewhere, and I just dying to find it, but it was on a practice court, and I had my shirt off, and basically my wife saw this picture when Andy Smith was visiting.
Uh-huh.
Came through Dallas at least, maybe 18 years ago. And he traveled with this old laptop and pulled it out and he started showing my wife and son these pictures, from back then. And they were incriminating pictures. You're out, you're partying late.
Yeah.
Stuff.
He's got his clothes off a lot. Have you noticed that? He's taking his shirt off in front of Pete Sampras.
It was a practice court, and I was much fitter, and I'm hitting a shot, but on the other piece of you can see Agassi, his shirt beforehand.
Yeah.
And if I find that photo and blow it up, I have a poster in my office or something because it's so legitimate. It was Brad Gilbert was coaching him, and he was at the top of his game, and he was a hero. He won everything that summer.
Yeah, that was probably 94, 95, one of those, right? Probably 95 when he won everything but the U.S. Open final.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he was really.
I saw him at a charity thing a couple of years ago, and it was one of those things you just don't expect him to remember you or recognize you, and that guy is amazing. I think he remembers everything.
What a memory on that man, yeah.
Did he go up and go, hey, I remember you were in Montreal with your shirt off next to me?
No, he was like 1987 Cal Cup in Seoul, Korea. He was a kid, and I remember you from that. And
wow.
That was their Korean national team. And I believe him. The guy's amazing. He remembers everything.
Favorite tennis player? Who's your favorite tennis player, or is there somebody out there? We have a special guest in the back also too. Behind you, there's a special guest walking by. I don't know if that means the time's up.
We're on board.
Borg.
Yeah, he was. I never got to see him, but he was kind of my hero. And then he was good. I watched a lot of Pat Cash and Becker Edberg. They were all one-handers and serving volleyers, and that's my style. So I like those guys.
You don't like Novak Djokovic?
No, not a Joker fan.
Well, Joker, what do you think about that?
Patrick, I must say I'm very disappointed that I cannot count you as one of my 64 fans worldwide. It's very disappointing. Although I will be resilient, I will bow to all four sides of the stadium, and it's a pleasure to be here in New York on the court and off the court as well, Patrick. So I hope one day you will come to watch me, and thank you for your support, even though you do not support me.
I would absolutely support you if we could talk about managing some of that money.
He's like Jen Psaki. He circles back the money all the time.
He does. He's so focused. I love it.
All right. What sport would you have played if it wasn't tennis?
Oh, I played basketball. I really like basketball. I've got season tickets to the Mavericks for like the same 20 years now. Those athletes, it's just that's if I'm going to watch something, that would be my preference. I'd like to have played. I always thought that surely I would have been in the NBA if only I was about 6 inches taller. 6 inches, I got the rest of the game. I just need the height.
Yeah, we need to start at the 6 foot and under NBA.
Yeah.
I think we all qualify for that.
Right. Patrick might be a hair over 6.
Is he 6? Are you 6 foot?
Yeah, I'm right there. My wife pushed me down, try to say he's not. I'm right at 6. I need 6'6", though. I needed 6'6".
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought because of your hair. He's got tall hair.
He has some hair still.
He's got tall hair.
He's looking good.
That gives you an extra inch, doesn't it?
Ray shooting up there.
All right, last question. We know we've kept you a couple hours, and we saw your wife back there behind you. She was kind of giving you the evil stink eye, I think. If you were commissioner of the great game, we asked this question to everybody, the very parting question, because it's an important question. Is there anything that you would change, or you like the game the way it is? Is there something that Patrick Fontana sees that the game might be missing, or might add to what's going on out there right now?
Oh, deep thoughts.
By Jack Handy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would change the money. There's so many great players that have a great career. Play 10 years and scratch out. Being on tour for that long and just don't get ahead. So I don't know how to do it, but all the majors make so much money and sometimes make unwise decisions with where they spend it and invest it, and getting more money back to the players and that grassroots, like you could be a successful low-level pro and just at the end of the day, after travel and expenses, that was certainly was not at any high level, but I felt that, my little bit of anything that I made was well eclipsed by what you spend. And so other than getting some free stuff, like Head and Adidas, I scrape by. They got to give more money to all the guys that are in that thing. And you think about it, I mean, there's got to be a way to do it. There's enough fans, there's enough money. There's this, surely a way to funnel more money to the guys that aren't top 100. And I don't know if it's the top 500, but there should be more people making a living as tennis professionals, and that would be the way I would change it. Is just funnel more money to the players, either covering more of their expenses or just raising prize money across the whole thing. And we have mutual friends. I know, a lot of guys that just great players that played for 10 years, big time, and end up kind of starting over once they're done with trying to build a whole new career. And you look at all those other professions, like financial planner. If you're the number 1,000 financial planner in the world, you're killing it. You're making $1 million a year, and you're set. And tennis guys should have more money, and girls, they should funnel more money.
Right.
You think the money's there, though? I'm going to ask you that question also, too. Is the money there to do that? Is there enough sponsors, and is tennis smart enough to do that? Because that's a common thing. We've talked to several people about that as well. Do you think that there is enough money out there to go around that could substantiate, like NFL? If you're the top 1,000, ranked, cornerback, in the NFL, you're making money, or NBA, people like that sitting on the bench. You're making $500 a year just to sit there. Is that kind of money around? Do you think? I just thought about this.
If we funneled it right, these tour events that could be. I'm not going to want to take over a tournament that could be run better and make more money. I mean, this new event coming to SMU, it's in February. It's indoors. It's a big time tournament. I can't see why it wouldn't make money and still be able to pay out pretty good first round prize money. And the guys that get into it, if they're top 500, they should all get paid a lot more. And maybe just grassroots sponsors. I get that there's no return on investment, having my name on a guy who's number 500 and not getting on a big thing, but there's enough money in tennis. You just got to find a way to get it there. I mean, I look at all my tennis friends, and I was reminiscing with somebody this weekend about it. Find me one tennis guy that's not successful, and it's out there. There's enough successful, smart guys in tennis that we got to be able to get more money in the game.
Yeah. Some of the guys out there are really smart that do things. It seems top heavy at the moment. I don't know if those guys at the top want to let the money trickle down, but it just seems like to me there's enough money
Huge
out there.
Top heavy, yeah.
What's that?
Yeah. It's hugely top heavy. You look at the lifestyle of top 5 or 10 versus everybody else, and it's just a drastic. Big difference. I don't know how to fix it other than just getting more money in there altogether and not having it all go to the top.
Are you a fan of the NCAA being able to allow your likeness? Kids in sports now.
Yeah,
high school,
NIL,
college.
name, image, and likeness deals.
Have you come across any of that in your business?
No, I was surprised. Like there's a tournament at Birch this week. That's a pro UTR or something, and I was just hearing that the guys can make money. I mean, they whatever it is, you're 13 or whatever you get in the tournament, and you come play a few matches and you go home with some money. That wasn't allowed. When I was in school, you could never make any money at all any time, and I guess the rules are changing. I think it confuses things. If you get college athletes starting to be able to make money, but it's good for them.
Well, that kid from Southlake, foregoing his high school year to go to Ohio State, but he's already got a contract. And there was a kid from Alabama, I think, that hadn't even played it down, but he's got $1 million contract. The quarterback for University of Alabama,
true freshman football kid. Yeah,
but they're not giving any of that for the number one tennis kid at Weber State or maybe SMU or anything like that. I don't think, but. It's an interesting time. I mean, that's
really is.
As far as money goes, is there? Well, before we go, and we've had a great time with you. Is there any place that people can find you? Is there a phone number? Is there a website? Because I'm sure there's going to be some people who might be interested if you're, taking on any clients or just advice for anybody. Is there?
Absolutely. So our website. Is certainly up and functional, but it's not got all the videos and stuff yet. That'll be coming out shortly. But patrickfontana.com forwards to the right place. And Wealth Partners Alliance, our firm, you can see kind of everybody that's there. And but patrickfontana.com goes to Wealth Partners, and we got a cool drone shot of our building, and you can book an appointment. You can read kind of bios of the guys on the team, and that's easy to get a hold of me to either set up a time to talk or answer any questions. And I always enjoy visiting with you guys and visiting with tennis friends and getting a chance to help any way I can, whether I can help somebody as a client or just help them with life advice. I've certainly picked everybody's brain for trying to learn stuff myself.
Patrick, big thanks. What a delightful evening with you, and we wish you a great week ahead and get a good night's sleep. And
you'll probably take them to breakfast too, won't you?
That's right.
Would you take these people to breakfast?
I don't know. I might be intermittent fasting by then.
Okay.
Gotta drop this 20.
I like it, Patrick. Congrats and well done tonight. That was so fun.
Thank you. Like I said, we appreciate it's been a couple hours and an enjoyable time. We always have a good time with Patrick when we see him out there, not on the podcast. He's always an enjoyable person, very convivial.
For sure.
It has a lot of texture,
It does.
So
I thought Philly Craig would mention Anise and I wearing our tuxedos and dominating at the Bentry Midnight Open.
that's right.
Late night.
The late night, that
yes.
was about 4 years ago, if I was correct. Weren't you about 4 years ago?
We were great until we got to the finals. Then we got crushed. But,
That's a tough tournament to win. I mean, I've had some really good players. Now we've been on a hiatus for a couple of years. We've had the fitness area upstairs, and we haven't had a main club, and it's just now coming out of the dirt, and it has risen. And so we've got finally a food and beverage operation. We haven't got our tennis facility back to normal capabilities yet. Second floor has still got fitness equipment, but we'll be back not in 2022. We want to do it in 2023. We've already talked about it yet because we want to do some renovations downstairs.
Yeah.
What's that?
We had a couple big wins. We were rolling in there. Then we got smacked by Sasha Kingney or a couple of those tough kids, tough young kids, much younger than us.
Well, you got a sweatshirt out of the deal. That's hard to win, those sweatshirts. I mean, everybody gets a T-shirt, long sleeve tee, and I'm sure it's very prized possession. Patrick probably sleeps in that sweatshirt.
Framed back there on my wall.
Right next to the Kiss. It's right next to that Kiss poster, I think, isn't it? It's framed. I'll autograph it for you.
Signed Gene Simmons thing for some charity deal.
Well, we certainly appreciate your participation in the great game around the area. Dallas tennis legend here in Patrick Fontana, whether it's been at the late night or Brookhaven or on the court with Dr. Phil. 4 seasons, man. It's great. Thank you, Patrick, for your time and your energy and your efforts, and then also in wealth management. I need to come over and see him now that I got all my kids out of the Bell household. Maybe I can throw him a couple of bucks, and maybe he can turn $2 into 200,000 or something like that.
He's done it for so many, and the USPTA of Texas, and Fontana Financial is sponsoring an event you and I get to run in a couple of weeks down in New Braunfels at John Newcomb's. It's called the USPTA Junior Grand Prix, kind of a state championship run by the Teaching Association. So huge thanks for that, supporting an event like this.
Yeah,
I'm excited to wear the T-shirt.
We've got a place for you. Come on down and stay with us. You can run the tournament with us.
You can have some fun,
down at Nukes.
Rosewall will be my partner. He's playing that thing 10 times older than those kids.
That's right.
DB1 and AJ, it's a pleasure. Thanks.
Thanks,
Patrick,
buddy.
Thanks a lot for your time, and we'll be talking with you probably here in the next day or two. How's that? Fine?
Yes.
There it is.
All right. There's the logo. Yeah, Fontana Financial. Thanks again, pal.
Thanks, Patrick. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Well, that was fun, wasn't it?
That was a blast. 90 minutes with Fontana. That was a wonderful show.
Actually, 2:06.
Oh, even more, yes.
Yeah, we've had 2 hours of his time.
2 hours. Awesome.
That was awesome time.
He's the man. Yeah, it was really cool.
All right, shall we shut down?
Get rid of everybody.
All right. Should we get the exit music going with James Scott Campbell? All right, we'll get him queued up here in just a second here, and hopefully we'll.
Everybody enjoy the U.S. Open.
Yeah, so who are your thoughts on the U.S. Open real quick?
Love Ash Barty. Aussie Ash. Love Coco Gauff. I love to see those two go far.
You're cuckoo for Coco?
I'm definitely always. I love that girl's style. And how about you on the men's side?
I'm going with the number one. So I'm going to go straight Joker and Aussie Ash. I just think those two. Joker's had a phenomenal year, and I think that Aussie Ash, she's had a good year as well. So.
Well, tune in, everybody. Wednesday night, we'll follow up on a few night matches. I'm pretty excited about Monday night's match. It's Roberto Bautista Agut, who we sometimes call Bob the Baptist, and he's playing Nick Kyrgios. Of course, they're going to make that a night match Monday night, so I can't wait for that. And tune in Wednesday night on Instagram at the Net Talk Show. We will see you then.
That's right. Thanks for listening to Season 1, Episode 92 with Patrick Fontana. Be sure to check out Patrick's good work. If you PatrickFontana.com, I think he said he'll take you there. Join us next week as we'll be talking with USPTA National Board member, fellow teaching pro Trish Faulkner.
Wow, big name.
Big name in our industry. Also join us, like AJ said, Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock on our Instagram page doing tennis shorts, right?
What's in Craig Bell's tennis shorts?
Yep, not much.
Find out Wednesday night, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. We'll talk U.S. Open.
And that's the tennis news as it
seems to us.
Good night, everybody, from Dallas, Texas.
Good night, and thank you.